This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Ewan McGregor stars as Count Alexander Rostov in A Gentleman in Moscow, the new limited series based on the best-selling novel. Stream it with the Paramount Plus with Showtime plan. Visit ParamountPlus.com to try it free.
We're making an ad.
Napping ad.
This is where I think if we're doing it right, Alec Baldwin comes in. He says a couple things. He listens to the podcast every week.
Yep.
Has he been canceled? Wait, is Alec Baldwin the one who killed somebody? I hear that Gary Sinise is free.
Oh, okay, great.
He hasn't worked since 2020.
So, what would be the script that we would have Gary Sinise say for the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast?
Listen to this damn show. Damn it.
The Napping Through Happy Hour podcast brought to you by Geekscape.
Real life, real drama, real time.
I'm Gary Sinise.
That's the ad. That's the ad. That's the ad.
Joe, we are back here in Newport Beach, and I personally cannot believe what's happening, but I told you this before we hit record. I had some shocking news to tell you.
Tell me.
I think Julie Cooper might be my favorite active Cooper.
Welcome home.
Now let me stress something here. It's only because Jimmy Cooper's not in the picture anymore. Jimmy Cooper will always have my heart as the best Cooper, but dear Lord,
Yes.
even Kaitlin is an equally awful Cooper.
Mm-hmm. That she is,
and she is the titular pot stir of this episode 13 from season 3, the pot stir. Yet another double meaning. Because you've got Kaitlin stirring the pot with the relationship triangle of Johnny, Ryan, and Marissa, but also she's becoming a little pot dealer for Seth Kelly.
They could have brought the metaphor even more home if she was like cooking things.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe she's making meth. My first big note, I had to mention this, had to give it a shout out. China, the horse with alopecia, gets another reference brought back in. Summer describes her as looking like a giant chihuahua, which got a big old laugh from me on the couch. This whole episode at its core is about the Kaitlin, Marissa Cooper jealousy towards each other. And like kind of equally makes sense on both fronts. Like, you've got Marissa, who's like, man, every year for Caitlin's birthday party, it was like this huge bash. And then like Caitlin's explaining her birthdays to Johnny, and it involves like hiring Cirque du Soleil to be there and all types of crazy shit. And then like Caitlin's whole thing is like, my birthday was the only day that anybody noticed me because my sister was Marissa Cooper, which feels fabricated.
Yeah.
Not sure how to feel about this either way. And actually, because of that, I wrote down this note. And I believe this. I feel like the writers have no clue what character Kaitlin is at this point. And they're just making her like 10 different character types just like scattered around the show.
They've decided that she's a Deus Ex Machina, but they have not decided what kind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While this is all happening, we also have the continuation of Julie Cooper's interest in Summer's dad. And I love this pitch. They're like, she doesn't want to be noticed anywhere. And Summer's dad's like, listen, I know a terrible burger joint. Like, even the owner doesn't want to be inside that building. We can go there on Sunday night, and I promise no one will find us. And Julie Cooper is so invested in this awful burger date that she completely forgets her daughter's birthday.
Which is very Julie Cooper.
It's very Julie Cooper, but also Kaitlin's been forgotten for 2.5 seasons as well. So, like, we, the audience, have also forgotten about Kaitlin's birthday since the show began. Marissa also discovers that Johnny and Kaitlin have been hanging out, talking, kissing, smooching, whatever, and she's not handling it super well. And I guess the age gap isn't as terrible as I was left to believe in the last episode, given that she literally is turning 15 in a week and Johnny's 17. Like, that's not I thought that Johnny was 18 for starters. I thought that she was like just turned 14. Like, that's a much more egregious age gap than like 2 years and some change. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
There's still a bit of ick about making out with the sister of the girl you're clearly obsessed over.
Yeah, it's just like, it's not great because it's like, I also, like you, thought Johnny was 18. I think this is one of those like retcons in the middle of the writing of the season where they're like, okay, we need to make it not as icky, especially if they're going to be physical, because up until like they need to have the birthday to say she is only 2 years younger than him and he is also still a minor. Instead of doing like some rushed expositional thing, they made it an entire plot point just so we can get to them making out and carrying on. It's weird, but it's also like, this kind of stuff is like soap opera gold, like old soap opera tropes where it's like, you can't be with the one sibling, so you're being with the other sibling, but it's still gross. Like, it's those things in soap operas.
So what essentially happens in this particular episode, I don't think that this is a particularly good episode. This is like an easy 2-star out of 5-star for me. It doesn't do anything egregious or bad, but it's kind of just like a nothing burger of an episode. Like, it seems to strictly exist to just tie a bow on a couple things to be able to make the following episode make more sense from the previous episode. But like as far as big moments, there are none. But as soon as Julie Cooper realizes she forgot about Kaitlin's birthday, she cancels her dinner plans. And because she doesn't want to have the party in the trailer park, she convinces Summer's dad to let them use his house. And they throw a big bash. And like, I hate to say it like this, but Kaitlin's being an obnoxious, spoiled bitch this entire time. Like, I feel like Julie Cooper made a somewhat reasonable mistake because her daughter has not been home for 3 years for her birthday, and goes above and beyond to like adjust and make up for that. And like, as Ryan points out, Kaitlin is solely focused on hurting Marissa at this point more than anything. So she's like going over to visit Ryan just to be like, why do you think Marissa's so angry that I'm friends with Johnny? Like, I can't imagine why that would bother her unless there was like something else happening between the two of them. Don't you agree, sir? Like, she's just kind of like poking and prodding. And it's kind of annoying to watch. To be frank, it's not great. Now, we do introduce a plot line that I think I sent you an article about before we had gotten there in the show. But I would say in the last couple months, there was an article going around from some former OC writers that essentially said that they made Seth a pothead in the 3rd season of the show. I vaguely combed through it because we obviously hadn't got to that part of the season yet. So I'm not sure if you read the article. You can definitely clarify points if you had. But I think it was essentially that like Adam Brody was becoming noticeably less invested in the show and the storylines. And this was a way to like kind of cover up the fact that he was phoning it in as far as acting goes at this point. Like, they're like, let's just make the character a big ass stoner now, so that when he's like looking glassy-eyed and uninvested in the storylines, it fits the character more.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Given how much I dislike Seth at this point in the show, feel like this plot line can only be an improvement upon the character, honestly.
Yeah.
So I have to ask though, Joe, you as the expert, where do you stand on Stoner Seth?
I hate this plot line so much. I hate this. I hate it in its larger context of the season, right? We're in the back nine of this.
It seems like
season.
a real, especially in like 2024, when like everyone and their mom can just go to the store and buy a vape pen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, the season's almost over. Seth's big hurdle is that he likes pot too much. Seems pretty minor in comparison to everyone else's storylines going on. Seems like a real like speed bump situation at max.
It's not great. It's not great because it's like you're looking at you got to look at the whole series up to now, right? Like the different things that are going on, and the two people who they have now put in the most kind of drama and jeopardy are Seth and Sandy of like the Cohen family, right? Seth and Sandy. Ryan's getting like no love. Like Ryan's just kind of like, I'm studying for the SATs and getting ready to apply to college, or graduate. And Kirsten's just out here, being a matchmaker, being sober, cooking for the family, being proud of Sandy, even though Sandy like hates himself. Like it's just the two people, which is such a stark difference from the previous season, and then even more stark a difference than season 1.
Yeah.
Like this whole
Sandy's
situation sucks.
Sandy's plot line is still whatever to me. Like I'm nervous that Sandy's going to do something I see fully unforgivable, but like as of right now, it's more that the other dude whose name I completely forgot, but the dude who loves him some strippers just keeps undermining Sandy and doing things, and the things that he's doing are succeeding, but like it seems obvious that Sandy is still having a lot of emotions about that. And like Kirsten even says, like, I have no doubt that when a line is fully being crossed right now. So like right now I feel like the character of Sandy is like in this similarly to what they did last season. It's like he's in a temptation zone, but I feel like the character of Sandy Cohen doesn't break. I will hate it if I'm wrong. But I think similarly to like everything with like is Sandy going to cheat? Is Sandy going to cheat? And like the answer was like, he'll get a peck on the lips and that's the end of it. He would never take it to like an unforgivable level in this storyline. And I think it's going to be the same thing here. I think that Sandy is more likely to dissolve the entire group to get rid of this guy than he is to like fully go into the level of being like, can we get some blow for the next investor so that they like it's just like, that's not, if they went in that direction, I'd be like, I'm done with this show. They don't know anything about their characters and their moral standings anymore. But the Seth one actually calls into question if Ryan has actually made his life worse, because if you imagine a world where Ryan isn't in the Cohen's life, right? He never shows up. Seth would just go through high school with good grades, fully focused on just, I need to get the hell out of Newport, and would be going to Brown. You know what I mean? Like, like the introduction of Ryan through the summer thing in there and gave Seth the like, I'm a cool guy ego that now he's having issues with because he's second guessing everything that's happened to him, where it's like, well, yeah, if Ryan never showed up in his life, he would just be fully focused on doing whatever it takes to get out of the OC. So I guess in that way, Ryan's ruined his life.
Well, I gotta tell you, Matt, just remember this little postulation about what would have happened if Ryan ever came to Newport.
Yeah.
Maybe that shows up in a future episode.
Oh dear God! Did they do one of those fantasy alternate reality episodes? Is that how far the OC falls? Dear God!
We're making an ad.
Napping ad.
This is where I think if we're doing it right, Alec Baldwin comes in. He says a couple things. He listens to the podcast every week.
Yep.
Has he been canceled? Wait, is Alec Baldwin the one who killed somebody? I hear that Gary Sinise is free.
Oh, okay, great.
He hasn't worked since 2020.
So, what would be the script that we would have Gary Sinise say for the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast?
Listen to this damn show. Damn it.
The Napping Through Happy Hour podcast brought to you by Geekscape.
Real life, real drama, real time.
I'm Gary Sinise.
That's the ad. That's the ad. That's the ad.
At Maximum Mediocrity, people say things like,
I don't dress like this on the regular basis. This isn't my, pooping uniform. This is not.
and they also say things like,
The nurses are usually either angels of mercy or whores.
every episode is a new experience where you get to know people that aren't famous but should be.
Why am I facing Floyd Mayweather in the woods?
My co-host Morgan and I track down the people you didn't know you needed to hear from.
It's like hot sex in a mug.
We are the Maximum Mediocrity Podcast, and we are on all major podcasting platforms. We'll be waiting for you.
Let's talk about some music, Joe.
Yeah.
Not a ton of songs in here. We got the Martina Talapi Bird covering I Only Have Eyes for You when Julie Cooper is on her lunch date. The Dow of Groove, Brand New Dolly, plays. It's the club song that plays when Marissa confronts Kaitlin and Johnny at her party. And then Electric President's Insomnia plays at the end of the episode as everything's happening and Seth is getting stoned in his bedroom. What say you, Joe?
I'm not going to say it was the last song because, that's just, it's such a cop-out. It's like, if you don't pick if you have one song to pick, it's either that or California, right? By Planet.
Well, in the end song, here's what I'll say, because I also didn't pick the end song. But the end song sounds like the type of song that you imagine being at the end of the OC. Like, it's almost like it's hit the trope level now, where it's like, what sounds like an Imogen Heap Frou Frou song by a cheaper band?
Yes. Like, what sounds like Brighter Than Sunshine by Aqualung, right?
Yes. Yes.
I chose the song that Johnny and Kaitlin are in the club and getting confronted by Marissa.
The Dow of Groove. All right.
Yeah.
I have yet to meet a version of I Only Have Eyes for You that I don't like, so I went with that. It's just a good, pretty song.
I like covers, but I liked how the song was used more, like, against what was happening in the club.
I think that's fair. I think it's a fair complaint and a fair reason to be into that. And lastly, Joe, let's talk about some pop culture real quick. I'll do mine really fast. Have I talked about The Curse on here?
You have not talked about The Curse. I don't think so. The one with Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder?
Yes. The Curse is a show that I have not fully decided if I like or dislike. But I know that I watched the finale a couple months ago now, and I have not stopped thinking about the finale. It is one of the strangest final episodes of any TV show I've ever seen.
What is The Curse about?
So, how familiar are you with Nathan Fielder? Because it's definitely in his wheelhouse of weird.
I used to watch, or I've watched a couple episodes of Nathan For You.
Okay, but you did not watch The Rehearsal?
No, but I know that it's like The Rehearsal is supposed to be really strange too.
Yes, and this is similar. So this Nathan Fielder isn't playing himself. Obviously, in Nathan For You in The Rehearsal, he plays himself. This one, him and Emma Stone play a married couple who are trying to do like a reality show about home flipping and home renovation, but specifically their angle is that they're a white couple that live on native land, and they're trying to like basically gentrify the area while also respecting the natives. And
okay, that's already funny.
and on the first episode, they just happen to be in this parking lot, and there's a group of native girls who are selling like sodas and stuff to make some money. And the producer of the show tells Nathan Fielder, hey, for some footage, go up to one of those kids and give them some money and get like a bunch of drinks from them. It'll be good to like show what a good guy you are.
Sure.
So he goes up and they're filming him, and he opens his wallet, and the only thing he has is $100 bill in it. And so he gives them the $100 bill, and he takes a couple drinks. And then as soon as he confirms that they're not filming anymore, he goes back and he's like, I need that $100 bill. I absolutely cannot give you that much money for these sodas. I'll go inside, I'll break it into a 20 or something, and I'll give you a much more reasonably priced like amount of money. And the girl yells, I curse you for doing this to me. And suddenly, basically what the show is about at that point is that he and Emma Stone are continually making terrible decisions that are making their lives worse, but he is confident that it's only happening because of this curse that a native girl put on him, and is trying to right the curse. And it gets darker and weirder as it goes along. And then the ending just turns into like, the only word I could use is Kafka-esque. Like it becomes the ending takes such a strange turn and goes into like fantastical, metaphysical, like what does this existentially mean? I would be blown away if there's a second season, because it seems like a real finite end to the show. But it's listed as The Curse season 1 everywhere, so I'm like kind of curious. Like I said, it's not my favorite show of the year, but it's definitely my favorite ending of the year so far. Great final episode that has, like I said, never left my mind. So how about you, Joe? What pop culture thing did you get fully sucked into and interested in?
Matt, I fucking hate you that I have to add another show to my list. Like, I'm so I'm rewatching Girls 5 Eva right now because I want to get into the new season, and I fucking hate you because now I need to stop that and go watch the show.
Well, the plus with The Curse is that I literally think it's 8 episodes, and I was watching it week to week, so you can just sit down and like cruise through it over a weekend and be done with it. Is Girls 5 Eva your pop culture thing?
No, Girls 5 Eva is not. Even though like I'm rewatching it, and I like it's so weird because like I watched the first season of Girls 5 Eva, but like I'm rewatching it now, and it's like I never watched it because there are things like I don't remember that was really funny.
Well,
and so yeah.
So let me ask you a question, and this is based on a theory that I've had for a while now. Girls 5 Eva was always a Netflix dropped on everything on one day and you like binge watch it type show, correct?
Girls 5 Eva used to be on Peacock. It was a Peacock original.
Okay, so it did go
it
week
moved
to week
to Netflix. Yeah.
Okay.
It was all at once.
Because I was gonna say, like, that's something that I've really noticed, and part of why I'm like becoming very anti binge culture is I've noticed that I don't retain the shows that I binge as strongly as I retain the shows that I watch week to week, where I'm like thinking about the previous episode for 7 days in preparation for the next episode. It's like during those 6 days, I'm really locking in the information of that episode stronger than when I just like sit and knock out a whole season in a day. And then you ask me about it. And I'm like, I don't know. It was good.
Yeah. I'm like, because Girls 5 Eva has so much, Girls 5 Eva has like a lot of really brilliant jokes in it. Like it's like, Girls 5 Eva is like is one of those Peacock shows like Rutherford Falls, like the reboot of Saved by the Bell, that like is jokes. Like these are writers who understand comedy is jokes and not just situational things. So it's vastly different, it sounds, than The Curse. But anyway, my pop culture thing that I'm really excited about is something that is like, it's a pre-order for a novel. So Joe's talking about a book, first of all.
Woo!
It is a novel by Casey McQuiston, and they are the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Oh, you've talked about this book before.
Which I've talked about that
book.
book.
The tingles.
It gave me it rocked my fucking world. And so this book that's coming out is I pre-ordered it from pre-order it from your local indie bookstore, independent bookstore. There's one that's near my work. It is a bookstore that specializes only in romance novels.
Okay.
Which is like, it's so beautiful. It's queer owned. It's like everyone in there is so fabulous. It's like you're walking into Portland. But this book is called The Pairing. And I'm just going to read to you the log line that's on the website for the book. In the #1 New York Times bestselling author Casey McQuiston's latest romantic comedy, two bisexual exes accidentally book the same European food and wine tour and challenge each other to an international hookup competition to prove they're over each other. And they are over each other, right?
Oh, you've got color me intrigued.
Yeah, and then there's obviously like a longer synopsis, the book jacket synopsis of it, and it was just like, okay, and it's like, it's bisexual, it's like flirting with non-binariness because like the names are not gendered. So like, and if you look at the cover of the book, it's two figures kissing, but like they're also not gendered. Like, it's just very, I really hope that this is the novel that is like a spiritual successor to the fame that Casey got with Red, White, and Royal Blue.
Okay. Nice.
So I'm very excited to read this.
That sounds, you got my interest piqued. All right, well, Joe, hate to leave our audience off on a cliffhanger, but next week's episode is the cliffhanger. So let's find out what happens next in the wacky world of these Newport kids.
We're making an ad.
Napping ad.
This is where I think if we're doing it right, Alec Baldwin comes in. He says a couple things. He listens to the podcast every week. Yep. Has he been canceled? Wait, is Alec Baldwin the one who killed somebody? I hear that Gary Sinise is free.
Oh, okay, great.
He hasn't worked since 2020.
So, what would be the script that we would have Gary Sinise say for the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast?
Listen to this damn show. Damn it.
The Napping Through Happy Hour podcast, brought to you by Geekscape. Real life, real drama, real time. I'm Gary Sinise.
That's the ad. That's the ad. That's the ad.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.